Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy. And
Hi Jeremy.
I'm Courtney's dad. You can see the lights, right?
The best looking one of them.
So I want to thank you all for coming to witness the marriage and to celebrate this day together today. Once these speeches are over, we will all be able to relax properly, especially us three. And then I suggest that we spend all night dancing and rejoicing and celebrating and loving each other together. I just want to say I just want to make a special mention of Morris and Margaret, who are here tonight. As the older generation and having walked through all the years that they have, we want to pay our respects, and it's wonderful to have them here. I also want to say thank you to we'll make a special mention of Dan Ovett, who has been their youth pastor and who has mentored them and loved them and guided them through the years. I wanted to just make a mention of him, and also of our beautiful pastor, Eddie Lockman, for the address that he gave today, for the delivery of the Christian message he gave today. Thank you, Jane. Thank you. After our first child, Zach, was born, I said to Louise, "Look, I'm a typical South African man. I need lots of little boys so that we can all go hunting and fishing and play rugby together." "No problem," she said. "Leave it to me." So, the first child was Zach. Everything was going perfectly until the second child. Out pops a little girl, Courteney Justine. Well, we fell headlong in love with her from the first moment. I was actually desperate for a third child, but Louise told me that the baby-making shop had shut down, moved to Russia, and would not be resuming production. To say that I have not created and stored memories of Courteney would be most inaccurate. As a cameraman, I have naturally accumulated hours and hours of footage of Courteney as a child, and many thousands of photographs. To my wife's horror, I actually took a full-size professional television camera into the maternity unit in Zimbabwe. And I was capturing footage of this little girl seconds after she was born. In our family speak, the gynecologist was not full happiness. I was also definitely the only father following behind Courteney and her mother on that very first day into Caution Primary School, again with another full-size television camera. My children are used to cameras. When they were little, I would have conversations with my children at bedtime. Using a tiny cassette tape recorder, which I would hide in my clothes. Zach worked it out first when he caught a glimpse of that red recording light. Before long, Zach began to body search me at bedtime. So I changed tactics, and decided to hide it in their rooms before bedtime. But it was impossible to turn it on without raising the alarm, so this plan too was foiled. However, it was far too late for both of them, because I had already recorded many, many delightful and innocent conversations with both of them. No doubt, Lewis and I will go through these audio and video tapes comprehensively in the years to come. In Zimbabwe, Courteney had a little black motorbike, a little black plastic motorbike, and she would spend hours and hours just hurtling around the house. You had to be very careful stepping out of the kitchen door when she was playing this game or risk serious internal injury, followed by a severe rebuke from a tiny child with cascading brown hair and flashing blue eyes. She adored all animals, to her detriment, in fact, as evidenced at 2 years old when she tried to make friends with a very large and aggressive termite. She made the fatal rookie error of offering him a ride somewhere on her finger. I was relieved by the unmistakable evidence that her lungs were in extremely good order.
Yeah.
So what can I say about my daughter that you would really believe? I am biased, right? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Courteney reminds me of a thoroughbred horse. She can be slightly highly strung,
Yeah.
slightly skittish, very occasionally bad-tempered. But when she settles and puts her head down and begins to run, there is such strength and speed and form and beauty. She is determined, she is resilient, she is capable, she is intelligent, she is a high performer. She is a thoroughbred indeed. Courteney also reminds me of a deep, calm, wide river. She herself is deep. Her understanding of life is maturing daily. She cares a lot about people. She is highly perceptive and insightful. And I have seen her many times put away her own pride and hurt feelings to try and restore a relationship. And so, just like that big winding river that she reminds me of, she is calm and she is composed. She is tranquil. She is quiet. She is gentle. And with God's help, she is unstoppable. Since university, Courteney has been working as a mental health practitioner. This is extremely difficult work, which is filled with obscurity. It is often stressful and draining. But Courteney has excelled and is highly valued and loved by both her work colleagues and the people she cares for. Is that any wonder at all, considering the kindness and the empathy that flows so easily from her? Courteney, your mum, and your brother, and I salute the extraordinary young woman that you are becoming. We salute your character, and we salute your courage. I did try to organize a singer for this evening, but Justin Bieber was not available. I'm not sure who came first in Courteney's life, Justin Bieber or Lewis Hancock. I just remember clearly that Court showed me a lot of videos in her early teens of some shaggy blonde-haired kid playing the guitar with ridiculous ease. Whether that was Justin Bieber or Lewis Hancock, I am not sure. You couldn't really tell the difference. But to be honest, I think it was always a one-horse race. I mean, if you're going to pick a guy called Justin or a guy called Lewis James Edward, who would you go for? The world that we live in often defines masculinity as being the hero who wins in sports, the tough guy who never backs down, success in business, wealth and possessions, multiple relationships, lots of girlfriends, never being depressed, never being discouraged. But the Bible defines masculinity differently. Masculinity is loving God with all your heart and strength. Masculinity is loving your wife before yourself. It has to do primarily with your character, your integrity, and what you do when you are alone that no one else sees. Masculinity or femininity seems to be inseparable from holiness and purity. Of course, none of us are even close to perfect, and you will both make many mistakes along the way. Seek God's forgiveness, forgive one another, and forgive yourselves. Thank God that in Christ, when we sin, He always forgives us. He picks us up and tells us that He adores us. And then He says, keep fighting for that big prize. Lewis has been proving his masculinity to me for 9 years. In the way that he has faithfully loved and protected and cared for and cherished our daughter. He makes her very, very happy. And she would be very unhappy without him. So this really is a true and very rare love story. These are childhood sweethearts. They have been dating for 9 years. They have never had eyes for anyone else. And so here today arrives the commitment to marriage and the consummation of this first love of two young Christian believers. How precious and exquisitely beautiful in God's eyes. We are absolutely overjoyed to welcome Lewis into our family as that desired third child, and finally a brother for Zach. So can I ask you all please to stand and raise a glass to Lewis and Courteney Hancock. To Lewis.
Okay, so I just want to start and thank everyone for coming here today and celebrating with us. Yeah, it means the world to Courteney and I that you've travelled far to see us on our special day. Firstly, I just want to say a massive thank you to the caterers and the venue for having us and feeding us. I'm sure you all agree that they've done an amazing job today. I also would like to say thank you to Wendy Pryor for the amazing choice in flowers and the hard work that she's put into decorating the church and the reception. I'd like to say thank you to Michael Pryor as well for capturing our day on video. This footage you've got today will certainly be watched for many years. I'd also like to thank Lionel and Shirley for making today run smoothly, and we really couldn't have done it without you guys. So it's an honour and an extremely rare occasion to have you guys all in one place at the same time. Some people I've known for many years, and others I'm having the pleasure to finally meet today. There are 3 young men in particular I'd like to mention. And that is my 3 groomsmen sat on that table there. I've known you guys for 10 years or more at this point. And you've always supported me in my choices and my relationship. So I know that these will be lifelong friendships with you guys. This isn't to forget the other men who are equally as important, who I'm just as grateful for, that are sat here tonight. You guys know who you are. When I asked Courteney to marry me, I know that I needed a best man, and that there was only one man for that title. Yeah, unfortunately you couldn't make it, so I had to ask Dan instead. Dear friend of Courteney and mine for a long, long time. I would like to thank him for all the work that he's done today, acting as Toastmaster, protecting the rings, and getting to church on time. I'm confident I've made the right choice here, but we'll find that out after your speech, I guess. Next, I want to say a thank you to Imogen, Vanessa and Joy, for not only helping my wife prepare for today, but also making a huge effort and looking magnificent. Not that any effort was needed, mind. Unlike myself, who spent hours relaxing and scrubbing his hair. But seriously, you guys, you all mean the world to Courteney. So thank you for everything you've done for her. Not just today, which is a considerable effort in itself, but throughout your years of friendship. Can we please toast to the bridesmaids? To Vanessa, Joy and Imogen. All those years ago for the first time and knowing straight away how I felt for you. So I'd just like everyone here to know how lucky I do feel to be standing here with all of you guys, and especially Courteney. Courteney, I've loved you in so many ways and for so many reasons. You know me and you understand me. I'm almost there. You know me and you understand me like no one else ever could. You encourage me and you care about my feelings, and you have a way of bringing out the very best in me. But mostly because you're my best friend. Thank you for marrying me and making me the happiest man alive, and for loving me as much as I love you. I know this is the start of many more happy years together. So please get everyone of you standing for the most important toast I'm likely to ever make. To my beautiful bride, Courteney. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If there is anyone here this afternoon who's feeling nervous, apprehensive, and maybe a little queasy at the thought of what lies ahead, it's probably because you just married Lewis. Now, accompanying this speech this evening, I was going to have a number of embarrassing photos of Lewis at the back for your enjoyment. But strangely, since Lewis has been with Courteney and met the Toits, he's become more photogenic. For those of you who don't know me, my name is mentioned as Dan, and today I have the honour and the pleasure of being Lewis's best man. And it's great to gather with you today and share what has truly been a very special occasion. I'm sure everyone here would agree with me in saying it's been just an absolutely beautiful, brilliant day. The ceremony earlier was wonderful. The venue here is lovely. The food has been good. The bridesmaids look lovely. Courteney, dazzling. And Lewis, yeah. we tried our best. Now, to be fair, Lewis, decent effort. It was not too bad, considering the raw materials we had to start with. And for once, you're not wearing something that's oversized. Now, in all seriousness, Lewis, he's always been concerned about his appearance. I remember one youth summer camp many years ago that to beat the bathroom cues, Lewis told me the following. He said, I got up at like 6 a.m, right? And I still had to queue for a shower then. I had to wait forever. Finally, I got in, put my stuff down, got ready, and then realised I forgot my towel. He continued, no, there was no way I was going through all that queuing again. So I had to dry myself on the front. And so, yeah, Lewis Hancock, aka Dudes, Louie, Lulu Bug, Rockstar. I can still clearly remember the day that I met Lewis. I was a youth worker, Lewis was a young person. And he showed up halfway through a youth group that I was running. I say he showed up, but actually I'm not sure if Lewis knew quite what he was coming to. He looked lost. He often still does. See, See, Lewis had agreed to come to a band practice at Courteney Baptist Church, and when they were done, one of his mates dragged him through to the youth group that was running next door. And so in his trundles, a little scrawny lad then, a flock of hair. I'm not too convinced that you could see through it. And so that was our first meeting. And after that, I was surprised to discover that he was keen to keep coming to the youth group. It didn't take long to work out why. And so since those days, we have remained good friends. We have met up in a whole host of locations: takeaways, cafes, farm shops, pubs, kebab vans. In fact, so memorable are our meetups to this that he still has the decaying remains of a kebab wrapper in his room some 7 years after we ate there. Now, on a serious note, Lewis is a really decent guy. He's laid back and loyal, he's forward funny, and a really talented guitarist. To be fair, Lewis music was always going to happen. I found out the fact that the very day that Lewis was born, the first 10 musicians were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, I've noticed that Lewis Rockstar's name is yet to be added, despite the number of YouTube hits his online videos received. Now, Lewis Rockstar is not the only YouTube sensation that Lewis has released. In his teens, Lewis released Horseman Productions, a documentary about a half-man, half-horse beast that roamed, that terrorised the streets of Neston. It ran for multiple seasons and it boasts an impressive total of 150 plus views. I say impressive, but 145 of those views will be looking for incriminating evidence of this speech. Now, it's a shame the same online success can't be said of Lewis's parody Fat Ass. Lewis is filming his silly stunts. One such attempt involved jumping from his trampoline into a wheelie bin. You can imagine how that one ended. Now, of course, we're here to celebrate Lewis and Courtney's wedding. We're so pleased for them both. They're both so well suited. They are a beautiful couple. Courtney is articulate. Courtney is caring. I remember her effortlessly looking after the poor kids in Romania. Courtney is good looking. Courtney is hard working and mature. All of which should make for a nicely balanced marriage. If that's Courtney's unique qualities, well, what qualities does Lewis bring to the marriage? Well, Lewis has a vagueness of details. And I'm sure many of you are aware that Lewis isn't always the most observant. It took Lewis 9 months of walking past the extension of the house, and a further 6 months of being built, before he realised there was an extension at all. And so, not being the most observant, I hope Courtney that you would, because when left to Lewis to book a night in Cardiff for him as maid, rather than book twin rooms in Cardiff, he booked a double bed in Carlisle. No, he did at least get the location right. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for Lewis' understanding of the location of koala bears. See, once when a fellow peer was sharing the story of a Tunisian holiday and some locals that were trying to sell them animals, Lewis was sharing an interest, was like, what animals? Like a koala bear. That's what most animals are. And so here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Lewis and Courtney are married, finally, for better for worse. Which is quite appropriate, really, because Lewis couldn't have done any better. And Courtney. Seriously though, Lewis, we've had some excellent times together, and I know we'll have many more in the future. You have been and you are a true mate. Your quality, you're honest, genuine, got a great sense of humour, and your love for God shines through. And it's a privilege to be your best man today, so thank you. And I know how much Courtney means to you, and that you will make a great husband. And I'm sure and I know that you will be extremely happy together for many years to come. And so all that's left for me to do is to invite you all to please stand with me and raise your glasses in a toast to the new Mr. and Mrs. Hancock, to the bride and groom.
much we've looked forward to this, and now by the grace of God, we've lived to see it, and we're here together to celebrate with Lewis and Courtney. I do want to say a big thank you to dear Sally for agreeing to let me say a few words on this occasion, and a very special thank you, of course, to Lewis and Courtney for inviting me to do that. My young friends, today is both an ending and a beginning. It is the end of your courtship, but the beginning of your marriage. You launch out today on a new chapter of your journey, and you are going somewhere that neither of you have ever been before. That is why you make these solemn vows today, because you don't know what the journey will contain. Will it be for better? Well, we would love to think so. Will it be for worse? There will be times like that, because the only condition for suffering is that you live long enough. Hard times come to us all. How long will the journey last? We don't know. But you will make that sobering vow before God that you will love each other and cleave to each other till you are parted by death. None of us knows, will that be long or will it be short? But we need to remember that sobering note on these occasions, because this is not a fairy tale wedding. This is love in the real world, a fallen world. But Lewis and Courtney, you don't have to make this journey into the unknown alone. God is with you, the shepherd that we have just been reading about. And thank you, Zach, for reading the scriptures so clearly for us. You know, if we did not have the assurance of the shepherd, we would be on our own in an evil and a broken world with a meaningless story to our life. If we don't know God, we had better worry, because it means that every day we have to take the full responsibility for life onto our own shoulders. Nobody bigger than us to help. What a burdensome thing that would be. But thank God, Lewis and Courtney, that is not you, because you have publicly confessed over many years now your faith in Jesus Christ as your Saviour and Lord. You have God as your shepherd, the God we've come to know in Jesus Christ, who described himself as the Good Shepherd and who loved you even to death. And so you will never be alone in this journey that you are vowing to undertake. God will be with you for better, for worse, and forever. He will be with you for better in the green pastures and the quiet waters that we trust you will enjoy many of. They're all his gifts to you. He will be with you for worse, no matter how deep the valley, no matter how dark the shadows. And he will be with you forever. Because at the end of the journey, there's the house of the Lord forever for those who are his people. It's not an open-ended ramble that you're embarking on. It has a destination, the house of the Lord. There is a point to this journey. You are heading somewhere, home. And marriage is about helping each other on that completely missed the point. This is the journey that we are on. And knowing this gives you a firm foundation for your marriage. Not because you've got what it takes. I won't flatter you with that nonsense. None of us have got what it takes. But because God has included you in his flock, he has you in his hand. This whole psalm that Zach has just read for us does not celebrate how brilliant the sheep are. It's all about the competence of the shepherd, not our achievements. And that is a wonderful thing. And here is why. Because with God as your shepherd, you are promised everything you need for this journey. 6 short verses in that psalm, 6 sentences, 6 promises. And I'll be brief on them. because we want to see you get married. So I promise I'll be brief. But you've got 6 promises. I'm not going to shortchange you on them. This is what God has promised you because he is your shepherd. First promise, first sentence, first verse, provision. I lack nothing. I shall not want. That doesn't mean you'll get whatever you want. David, who wrote the Psalm, certainly didn't. For him, I shall lack nothing included the death of 3 of his children. Think about that. So it's not saying to you, well, I want a big house and no mortgage, so can I have that? No, God knows what is best for you. He's a good shepherd, not a foolish shepherd, not an indulgent one. But you will never have any true needs that your shepherd won't meet. You will find that is true as you go through life. It seems so hard to believe sometimes, especially when you're younger. You think, well, if I want it, I must need it. But if I may speak to you as an older brother now, I have lived long enough to no longer want the things that God hasn't given me, and to realize that what he has given me is very much more than I deserve. And you will see that along the journey. He promises you provision. Number 2, he promises you renewal. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. We're not self-sustaining creatures, and we do not have self-sustaining marriages. Every day, God makes us new. Every day, God gives us fresh grace. Every day, he surrounds us with good gifts. It's all from his hand, promised and delivered with astonishing regularity. It's not our entitlement. It is his kindness. And if you take time to thank him every day, you will have a much happier marriage, I promise you. Because grateful people are always a whole lot happier than ungrateful ones. And when you find yourself wandering, and you will wander from God sometimes, come back and ask the shepherd, Lord, refresh me again. Renew me again. Because he promises to renew and restore your soul. He never gets tired of doing that. No matter how many times you come to God in need, he will never say, oh no, not Lewis again. Or, I can't believe Courteney's back so soon. He will never say that to you. And he will never say, sorry, I'm out of resources. Because he's your good shepherd. He'll renew you. Promise number 3, guidance. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. God knows that on our own we cannot make it through the complex maze of life. Though that doesn't stop us trying. There is something terrifying about the destructive self-determination of human beings. But God promises to guide you in the right paths. That's why he's given you his word in Scripture. If you heed his word, he promises to keep you on the right track. Promise number 4 is protection. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Every one of us here today, Lewis and Courtney, wishes you far more green pastures than dark valleys. But I would be failing you really badly today if I sent you off into married life with nothing more than good wishes. Keeping your fingers crossed is very poor protection against the storms of life. None of us can live without suffering. But we don't have to go through it without God. We don't have to live without the shepherd. If we do, that is a self-inflicted wound of the worst kind. When life is for worse, you don't have to face it alone. And though you may face evil, you don't have to fear it. Because the shepherd on the journey has come equipped, rod and a staff to protect you. I wish you many, many trouble-free years. But when hard days come, I hope you will look back to your wedding day and remember Psalm 23 and the promise of verse 4 and prove its truth. God is with you. And the 5th promise is another reason why you need to fear no evil, because God promises in verse 5 his advanced planning for your life. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. What that's saying is God has anticipated already every danger, every crisis that you will ever face, and he has already planned out the solution before you get there. How good is that? He's already planned how he's going to get you through those situations and what he's going to teach you in those situations so that you will be able truly to say, well, I didn't expect it, but my cup is overflowing with blessings. God is way ahead of you and way ahead of me. And that's a great thing. And his final promise in verse 6 is the promise of safe arrival at journey's end. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Your journey's got a destination. Arrival in the presence of God. That's what the house of the Lord signifies. That's why Jesus lived. That's why Jesus died. That's why Jesus rose again, to bring his people home to God forever. So, my dear friends, you need have no fear as you set out on this journey of marriage. Your shepherd is with you, for better, for worse, and forever. He has promised to provide for you and to renew you daily, to guide you and to protect you, to go ahead of you and plan for every eventuality until at last you arrive safely home. Now hear this, Lewis and Courtney. Loads of people would love to be able to say what you can say, which is, I will lack nothing. I will never need to fear any evil. Loads of people would love to be able to say that. You can, and many of them can't. And here's the simple reason why. We can never have that kind of assurance without first learning to say, the Lord is my shepherd. You have learned to say that. You've been saying it over many years, and my heart rejoices in that. Now learn to say it more and more. Learn to say it together. Write Psalm 23 on your hearts. Center your life as a couple together on this great shepherd. Do that, and you will have the most fantastic marriage. God bless you.